Attention bowlers, we are going to get started. Please finish your warm-up frames. We'll be changing to scoring in just a moment. Welcome to Riverwalk Lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts for an Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour playoff match in Class E North. It'll be the qualifying round number 3, I believe. It'll be Marc Poirier versus Chris Curley. I'm Steve Kelly on the call. It'll be great to have this match with you today, and I expect it's going to be a pretty rip-roaring game of 5 games. It's going to be grand total pinfall wins in the playoffs, so don't worry about points. It's all about the grand total pinfall. We'll give Marc a thumbs up. Marc will be the away bowler, technically. And let's get going here. So the stage is set for a thrilling match here in Amesbury, Massachusetts at Riverwalk Lanes. And Marc Poirier will start it off right with a split, a 5-7 leave, but it's makeable. So it's 5 strings of Candlepin bowling. Instead of points, we'll be going by grand total pinfall today. So you may see some point indicators on the screen. Just disregard those. Just watch the big number for the grand total pinfall. So Marc Poirier will begin with an 8-box to start things off. We think you're going to love this match. Candlepin bowling is based out of New England and Canada. It's a little bit different from 10-pin. We don't clear the dead wood around the pins, and there are 3 balls per frame if no strikes or spares are thrown. Here's Marc Poirier with a 3-drop. Followed by, on the head pin, he hits a few more on the object. He leaves the 2, the 5, and the 7. And that will be the shot for Marc Poirier to make for a 10-box. Again, all about the grand total pinfall. Individual games don't matter. It's just the big number at the end. And that'll be another 8 for 16 through 2 for Marc Poirier. Subtitles and live captions are available should you need or prefer them. YouTube should have a handy transcript feature available as well if you're watching this later on YouTube. I'll keep the match called for you in audio form, and I'll score it for you even on the scoreboard on your screen. My numbers are unofficial. The book records are maintained separately. 4-drop for Marc Poirier, the second ball. He'll take a few more out. Paper and pencil scoring at Riverwalk Lanes. And Kristen Poirier is on scoring duty for the paper and pencil copy. So every once in a while, I'm going to lean over and just make sure that my numbers match theirs to make sure we're not completely desynced or anything. I appreciate your patience if and when that happens. Marc Poirier with 3 8-boxes at 24 through 3. There's Marc Poirier with an 8-drop. The 5 and the 8. And he'll take the 8 and leave the 5. The winner of this matchup today faces Chaz Gallant or Tim Dacey, depending on the outcome of that matchup. 34 through 4 for Marc Poirier. 2 headpin shots for 4 with 1 split. Here's Marc. He'll drop 6. 4 horsemen right side. Followed by, will he find the head pin? He'll find it by proxy, and then he'll find another pin by proxy as the ball pinballs around the plate. And he'll pin it out for a 10. It'll be no marks in the first half for Marc Poirier. 5 boxes in before we swap over is Marc Poirier with a 44 half. That's the story so far. And now our home bowler will begin. It'll be Chris Curley coming up next on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour at Riverwalk Lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts. Going to try a bit more of a dynamic kind of camera today. By dynamic, I mean I'll just physically move it a little more as it's right next to me. It's a pretty close quarters here in Riverwalk. You can't see it here, but my setup is really comically compact right now on a very tiny table. That's why the zoom camera is a little bit off kilter. That's why the wide shot camera is a little bit off kilter. But you know what's not off? You know what's on kilter is that spare by Chris Curley. And in fact, can I get this queued up for you? Yeah, look at this. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. It goes. That's Chris Curley's spare. Here comes Chris. So it sounds like he dropped it a little bit before the foul line, but he still gets 5 pins out of it. A 5 fill for Chris. There we go. 15 through 1. And then cluster on the center. He drifts off to the right. And then for Chris to finish it off, he might finish it off with a 10. That 5 holds on, and it falls eventually. That'll be a 9 for Chris. Curley for 24 through 2. Here in Amesbury, Massachusetts today at Riverwalk Lanes. Here's Chris Curley, still on the right side, still really liking the right half of that lane. He'll take 3 out. And what will it be for Chris? He'll leave the 1 and the 8. So no spare. His ball, he corrected a little bit too much and went to the left. Gonna have a couple calibration boxes, you know. He'll take a 7 in the third for 31 through 3. Chris will mash the 10 pin for a 1 drop. Still on that right corner of the lane. And I saw he made a physical move to the left. We'll see if he can figure that out. Oh, and he'll only take the 3. Oh boy. And then it ends up being a 7 box for Chris Curley. 38 through 4. Mark Ridgey says, push that button as fast as possible. I know he wanted to get out of that box as fast as he possibly could, and I don't disagree. That was gnarly with the quarter Worcester on the second ball. Chris Curley on the head pin. That's almost the same leave, but he escapes the split. He takes an 8 drop. He's got the 6 and 10 on the right side, his favorite side. On the 6-10 for Chris Curley for a spare. Oh, and it's when the ball doesn't go to the right. Goes right down the middle. Not the time you want to do that. 8, 9, or 10 for Chris. It's going to be a 9. And both bowlers still relatively close to one another. Chris Curley with 1 mark. Marc Poirier with no marks. That's confusing. But Marc Poirier is at 44 through 5, and Chris Curley is at 47 through 5. Again, it's not going to be about individual points today. It'll be about the grand total pinfall. So Marc Poirier will begin his next 5 boxes on the opposite lane. And we will perform the traditional moving of the balls amongst the returns, because this lane pairing has a single ball return per lane on lanes 3 and 4 at Riverwalk Lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts. Again, playing with the dynamic camera angle today just because we're in close quarters. Some of these angles may be great, some of these may not be. Apologies if they aren't. Here's Marc Poirier. He began, oh boy, a little bit off the right, just the 10 pin. Oh, and actually it's going to be, and he's going to wave it off as a foul. I will double check that in a moment. And the next ball right on the 10 pin again. I believe this should be ball 3, I think. It'll be a 4 box, I think. Am I right? Yes, it'll be a 4 box for Marc Poirier. 48 through 6. And there is a 1-drop for Marc Poirier on the 6 pin. Followed by, we're at the same place. He's really good at throwing 2 balls exactly in the same place twice in a row. But unfortunately, it doesn't award you the same number of pins. And then it will end up being a 5-box for Chris Curley, and that's, Marc Poirier. That's 53 through 7. Here's Marc Poirier. This was his stats that got him to where he is today in the playoffs in Class E North, a record of 156 and 96 at a Class E North Division 4 at Boutwell's Bowling Center. 3 here. When you get into the playoff, it's kill or be killed. And missing the object, leaving the 1 and the 10 on the second ball for Marc Poirier. And he'll make it an 8 in the 8th for 61. Marc Poirier had an away record of 80 and 46 in the regular season, a home record of 76 and 50 in the regular season, with a season average of 96.72 and away average of 96.02, a home average of 97.42, and he drops 9. For the spare shot on the single, he drifts off to the right. It's a 10-box as a reconciliation for Marc Poirier, and that's 71 through 9 with 1 box to go. Marc Poirier on the head pin, and he takes a strike. That's our first strike of the match, and it's to Marc Poirier. And we'll get you a replay of that in just a second. Have a look at this. On the 1-2 pocket, it all goes down for Marc Poirier. Oh, it looks like we're at the respot. You know, just a casual pin respot. All right. And then he'll take 7 down so far on the strike fill. This is bonus time, overtime. Followed by a nice 9 fill to round it out, and I believe that should be 90 for game 1 for Marc Poirier, and I'll double check in just this moment. It is 90 confirmed. 90 is the first game on the paper copy and the digital copy for Marc Poirier, and let's move on to Chris Curley, who has a 47.5 so far here on the ACST in Amesbury, Massachusetts at Riverwalk Lanes, formerly known as Lafayette Lanes. Chris Curley will begin with a 1-drop on the 7 pin. Ball 2 on the pocket. Ooh, ugly, but it did mix fairly well. It's the 2, the 8, and the 9. Third ball results in a 7-box, leaving the 2, 8, 9. That's 54 through 6 for Chris Curley. So Chris Curley, here's his numbers, which got him to where he is today in the playoffs. A record of 158 and 94 out of Class E North Division 3. Away record 64 and 62. Home record 94 and 32. Season average 95.53. Away average 94.91 and a home average of 96.16. It'll drop 6, leaving the 3 diamond. High single 127, high series 509 for Chris Curley this season. On the diamond, he misses it to the left. On the retry, it looks better. He'll take 3 of 4 on the diamond, leaving the back sleeper 9 pin for a 9 box for 63 through 7. Chris, slightly east of the head pin, takes 6 down. 1, 2, 6, 10 is the play for the spare. And Curley, the play on the outside of the head pin. He takes 3 of 4, and the 4th is wiggling. It's still wiggling. And it's up. It held on. It held on a lot. And then it becomes a 9 box for 72 through 8 for Chris Curley. Compare that to 61 through 8 for Marc Poirier. Curley, head pin, splits 7, 2, 7, 10. Followed by almost a spare. He leaves the 10. Played the object, played the wood. Just couldn't quite get the messenger to come to the 10. Nine or 10 for Chris. It'll be a 9 for 81 through 9. Curley, it's away on the right side of the pocket, but not on the pocket. Drops 5. 1, 2, 7, 8, 10. And Chris is on the outside of the head pin and only nudges 2 down. Two 7-10 leave for a 10 box. He'll make it a respectable, and it's 90. The bowlers are tied in the first game, and from my unofficial count, I'll just double check the scores to be certain. 90 love is confirmed for both bowlers. Again, it's all about the grand total pinfall, and so far the bowlers are right up against each other in terms of competition. 90 to 90 in the first game. When we come back, it'll be game 2 here on the ACST. It'll be Marc Poirier up next. And I hope you're having a great afternoon. It's a bit of a wet one today. Really windy, really rainy. But let's try to make the most of it at a bowling alley and for some playoff action. This is playoff bowling. 1, 3, 6, 4, 7, 9 for Mr. Marc Poirier. 4 drop to open up, missed the head pin, and missed the object on the second ball. But he'll make a 10 box out of it. Nicely done for Marc Poirier. That's 10 through 1. Marc, head pin hit. Breaks up the split. It's an 8 drop. It's a 2-4 leave. And he goes for it a little bit too much to the left. And he makes it a 9, 19 through 2. So Marc Poirier, high single 150, high series 600. 37 strikes, 131 spares, 150, 310. So he finds the head pin. He finds 9 pins, similar to his first head pin hit this game in the previous box, except he drops 9 instead of 8. And he gets the spare off of it. Nicely done by Marc Poirier. Take a good look at this shot if we have some time. Hope we don't. He's already starting. It's okay. We'll have a highlight reel at the end of the match in case we want to review any extra shots. And that is not on the head pin, a 4-fill for Marc Poirier, 33 through 4. And on that, just a little off the head pin, goes to the right, takes the sleeper. He's got the 1, 2, 4, 5, 8. Ends up being a 7-box, 40 through 4 for Marc Poirier. Marc Poirier, perfect box percentage of 36%, 87.05 pins for the season. Second in the wild card seed, finished third place in his division. Drops 3 here. Tries to go for the head pin, can't quite do it. 1, 3, 8. And the result of the box is an 8 for Marc Poirier. He'll have a 48.5. 138, 1.5 game total for Marc Poirier. Both bowlers tied in the first, staying on pace with each other, 90 love. Again, it's going to be all about the grand total pinfall and not points today, as it is playoff bowling in the Candlepin Singles Tour. Chris Curley coming up next in Amesbury, Massachusetts. And that is a 7-drop for Chris Curley to open up. And he'll take a spare off of that. Nicely done by Chris. 10 through 1 in a bonus. On the 1, 3, 10, says goodbye to it. Chris Curley on the pocket on the fill. He'll split 5 and take 5. That's 15 through 1. Two, 4, 6, 7, 10. He'll bean the 7 and leave everything else. For the 10 box, he's got a 6 guarantee. What a nice 10 box for Chris Curley. A nice out there. In fact, let's spotlight that shot again on the 2, 4, 6, 10. I really like the way that shot went. Look at that. Beautiful 10 box by Chris Curley. The next ball. First ball, another split. An opposite-sided spread eagle minus a pin. 3 on the left, 2 on the right. Curley goes down the middle. On the retry, 5 box or higher. He'll make it a 9. Well done. Almost converted it, actually. So it'll be a 9 box for Mr. Curley. That's 34 through 3 by my count. There's Curley 16 strikes, 134 spares, 140 10s for the season. He mixes down 6. 1 7 10 2. And misses the object off to the right. And Chris will make a nice 10 box out of it, or a nice spare out of it at the very least. Excuse me, I might have missed a beat on that. That is a spare. Watch this. Off it goes. Oh no, it's a 10, just kidding. But you know what? It's still a great 10 box regardless. Thank goodness for the paper copy. 2 drop for Chris Curley. 44 through 4. I strategically placed myself so I can kind of stand up and look over for the paper copy, which is super convenient in this house. Curley leaves the 2-4-7 after the Marc attempt, going for a 7, 8, 9, or 10 box. And it's an 8 for Chris Curley. I believe that'll be 52 half. I'll double check in just a moment. 48 to 52 is confirmed. Yes, it's 48 to 52. I kept on pace with them. It's 48 Marc Poirier, 52 Chris Curley, 138 overall Marc Poirier, 142 overall Chris Curley. It's about the grand total pinfall, I remind you. And we'll get ready for some lane 3 action with Marc Poirier coming up next on the ACST. And here's Marc with a 4 drop and a 6-pack on the right side. This 6-pack is brought to you by the bar that is located next to Riverwalk lanes, and you can get to it from within Riverwalk lanes. So do check it out while you're here. And Marc Poirier will be in the object pin and plow through full down the center, leaving the 3-6-10. And he'll make it an 8 and the 6 for 56. Marc drops 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a fun leaf to say. He takes all but the head pin on the second ball. And it's a 10 box for Marc Poirier. That's 66 through 7. It's been a little while since we've been to Riverwalk Lanes. Riverwalk Lanes was established in 2013 as Riverwalk Lanes. They were known as Lafayette Lanes prior to that. Located in Amesbury, Massachusetts, in a very cute residential area with lots of narrow streets and thickly settled roads. There's a 7 drop for Mr. Marc Poirier with a split. That's a setback right side, 5, 9, 10. And he'll spare up that mess. Starting to get a little hotter on the marks. Oops. That was not the button I meant to push. Here we go. On the 5, 9, 10, Marc Poirier swept them all away. Look at that. And here's the follow-up on that Marc. Marc takes 9 on the strike fill. Spare fill, excuse me. A big 19 in the 8th for 85. Single pin on the 6. It's gone. See ya. A double spare for Marc Poirier. Get that grand total jacked up and juiced up. And 2 marks and good fills will get you there. Here's the follow-up on the pocket. A little bit too much on the money. He'll take 5 down and he'll split 5. 109. Followed by chop of the 6. It's an out of an 8. He'll take a 108 in the second game for Marc Poirier. 108 is confirmed, I think. Double checking. Yes, I believe it is 108. I was trying to read the handwriting. Yes, it is 108. It's like a final exam of paper math, paper copies, reading handwriting, all of that. Get your math in at Riverwalk Lanes. It's Chris Curley up next. Here's Chris. Off slightly to the right of the head pin. He mixes down. 7 is the 1, 2, is the 1, the 2, and the 10. Chris a little bit off to the left on the spare ball. What'll it be? It'll be an 8 box in the 6 for 60 for Chris Curley. Riverwalk Lanes is located nearby the Powell River. If you park in the lot on Friend Street, you can experience the Riverwalk to Riverwalk. Mark Ritchie owns Riverwalk Lanes. And he's here right now, literally. Came in with a brand new shop vac. Takes off the 10 pin. And he'll mix down all but 3 pins. And takes a 10 box for 70 through 7. Compare that to 66 through 7 for Marc Poirier before his double mark run began. Chris Curley, he takes down 9. He leaves the 6. Wiggles the 6. And that goes into the channel. And it's a 10 for Chris Curley for 80 through 8. Down by 5 to Marc Poirier's 85 through 8. But look at the grand total pinfall instead. 198 Marc Poirier, 170 Chris Curley. Poirier leads by 28, 2 boxes ahead. That's only like a mark and some change, really. Chris Curley on the pocket, he drops 9. The kingpin is standing tall. And Chris Curley just misses the kingpin slightly to the east. On the retry, he gets it on the retry, and for the 10 and the 9th for 90. If he gets a 10, he'll trail by 8, but if he gets a mark with an 8 fill, he'll tie. That's the current story as of the end of the second game. Here's Chris Curley, our home bowler. On the pocket, and he strikes it up. That's what he needed. And that will keep it interesting. It'll keep it competitive for sure. Let's have a look at this while we have a moment in between lane resets. And if I could sneak it in, watch this strike by Chris on the 1-2 pocket. See ya. Oh, and just a little bit off on the 10 pin. You get 2 balls for the fill, though. So 1 so far on the fill. Oh, and he'll take 3 on the fill. So it'll keep it interesting. 193 for Chris Curley with the 103, and it's 108 for Marc Poirier. 198 for Marc Poirier, 193 Chris Curley. Just double checking and confirming that is the official score. Coming up next will be Marc Poirier to start off game number 3. Starting right about now. Marc Poirier. Oh, and he's on the 7-pin and on it good for a 1-drop so far. He'll plow the center on the second ball and he'll leave the 2, the 6, and the 10. Followed by a 7-box in the first for Marc Poirier, 7 through 1. Poirier, oh, on the 10-pin this time. Marc Poirier, last time I covered him, he actually had a bit of an injury during the match against Chaz Gallant. You'll notice on his right lower leg, he has a calf brace on, 6-box here, because he had a mild tear of that calf against Chaz Gallant. And Marc Poirier, last season, he had an injury with his arm, and he had to have a surgery on the throwing arm. He's a lefty. So Marc Poirier's been fighting through some injuries, but he got here to the playoffs regardless. He'll split 6 here. For the spare for Marc Poirier, he'll sweep 2 on the left, but not the 2 on the right. 8, 9, or 10. It's a 10. He cleans up for 23 through 3. So at the end of the first game, both bowlers tied 90 to 90. In the second game, they were at 108 and 103. Just a difference of 5 separate our 2 bowlers in the grand total pinfall, with Marc Poirier narrowly in the lead. And he'll drop 6, 1, 3, 4, 7. Poirier for the mark. Oh, he goes into the gap in between the 2 on the left and the 2 in the middle. To finish it off, he'll take the 2 in the middle and leave the 2 on the left. That's an 8-box on the 4th for 31 through 4. Poirier drops 6. 1, 3, 6, 9. And then on the outside of the head pin, but a little not quite outside enough, he'll take a few and leave a few. He's got the 3 and the 6 that he's shooting at for a 10. He'll make it an 8 for 39 through 5. And that's 5 boxes done for Marc Poirier, 39 through 5, and a cumulative total of 237 so far at halftime. 39 is confirmed. Oops. When we come back, it'll be Chris Curley to throw his next first 5 of Game 3 of 5 and to take us right into halftime at the ACST Class E North playoffs. Here he is, Chris Curley. Chris Curley, who finished first in his division, which got him to the playoffs. String 1 average 93.5, string 2 average 95.06, string 3 average 97.17, finding the pocket here and splitting 7. That's a 2-4-6. Both bowlers with 4 splits apiece so far. Relatively even on the head pin front, and in the strike front, and in the spare front. Curley tries to make 2 take 1, but only takes 1 on the left side. It's the 2 and the 6 for a 10 box. It's an 8 for Chris Curley through 1. Chris Curley has the number 8 highest Class E average at 95.5. At the 8th highest Class E high single at 127. 10th highest Class E high series at 509. We'll take 2 off, just the 4 and the 7. Finds the pocket. Does he take them all? The 6-pin gets touched, but it doesn't go. For a 9 or 10, it'll be a 9 for Chris for 17 through 2. He missed the pocket, but he takes down 8, leaves the 1 and the 2 for a spare opportunity. Curley on the 1 and the 2. A little bit too much to the right. Eight, 9, or 10 for Chris. He'll nudge the head pin and he'll take the 2 by proxy, and that'll be a 10 box. 27 through 3 for Chris Curley. Here's Chris to the right of the head pin again, takes a few more, takes 5 down. Started off with a 3 drop and then collided into some more. He's got the 1, 3, 4, 7, 8. Drifts off to the right again. Seems to be magnetized to that right corner on lane 4 in particular. Ends up being a 6 box for Chris for 33. 4. If you like this content, I encourage you to continue subscribing to the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour page on Facebook as well as YouTube. Especially now during playoff season, great time to watch some bowling. Here's Chris to the left, takes 4 down. He's got the 6-pack right side. Curley's off the object. 1-5, 3-10. And he ends up taking a 9 for a 42 half. It's Marc Poirier 39, Chris Curley 42 at halftime. Halfway through the third game is 237 Marc Poirier, 235 Chris Curley. And we are confirmed at halftime. So Poirier leads by 2 in the total. It still is anyone's game, and just get hot at any point, and you have this match. And we have half a match done and half a match to go on the ACST. Marc Poirier is getting ready to go. And let's go. He'll mash that 7-pin into next week. And takes some off the right corner next. Followed by a 5-box. A hard-fought 5-box as well. 44 through 6 for Marc Poirier. What more can I tell you about Marc Poirier? His string 1 average is 93.83. His string 2 average is 96.11. His string 3 average is 101.72. He has the 6th highest Class E average at 96.7, and he'll take a split here, 4.67. And he'll spare that 4.67. $54 through 7 for Marc Poirier. Watch this shot again. He had a lot of wood to help him, and he just drilled through it. The ball collided into the 6. That was how the 6 went. He's filling a spare. Chops 2, and it's a half Worcester. 2 fill. Excuse me, 56 through 7. Oh, and the second ball goes where the first ball went. To finish it up, oh no, a complete trip to Worcester. Worcester comes to Amesbury. That's a 4-box. 60 through 8 for Marc Poirier. He'll shave a few off. He'll shave 4 down. Chisel 4 down. Center diamond the 7 and the 8 as he misses the object on the second ball. This might leave an opening for Chris Curley potentially. It'll be a 7 in the 9th for 67 for Marc Poirier, who's at 265 in the total with 1 box to go before he finishes the 3rd game. In this 5-game series. And there's a strike for Marc Poirier. A nice easy hammer in the 10th. Watch this. Great ball, great strike on the 1-3. A little bull, but didn't matter too much. That was Marc Poirier's strike. He's going to be filling that strike fill. 2 balls in the bonus here in the 10th. 77 and that was just what he needed. So far, 6 on the fill, maybe 7. Yes, 7. 1, 2, 4. And it's a 10 fill. Would be a spare normally, but it's just a 10 fill since we're in the 10th. That's 87. Game 3 for Marc Poirier and a 3-game total at 285. And that is confirmed. Coming up next is Chris Curley. Marc Poirier leads by 50, 5 boxes ahead of Chris Curley. Can Chris Curley come back and overcome that? We'll find out in this grand total pinfall bout. Chris Curley coming up next. Curley on the 1-2 pocket, a nice ball, but he's not really rewarded that well for it. He's got the 5, 9, 10 with no wood. And Curley almost spares it. The Messenger 5 spins airborne low to the ground and almost comes with a 10, but doesn't quite take it. It was a little in front of it. So he'll be playing for a 10 box in the 6 for a potential 52 after 6. He's going to go into the channel for a 9. That's 51 through 6 for Chris. Here's Curley. Pocket shot, drops 9, leaves the 7. With wood all around the 7. Looks good for a spare if you just hit anywhere in the vicinity of the 7. Here we go, and there it is. That's a spare for Chris Curley. 61 through 7 now. Plus a ball, just like Marc Poirier in the 7th. Curley working on a spare. Takes 7 down, 1-3-10. 7 fill is big. 68 through 7, it's 56 through 7 for Marc Poirier. Curley on the mark attempts, no good, just on the 3, leaves the 1 and the 10 untouched. Eight, 9, or 10 for Chris. He makes it a 9. 77 through 8. Marc Poirier at 60 through 8. Curley's at 270. Marc Poirier's at 285. 2 boxes ahead of Chris Curley. Chris Curley has an opportunity to take the lead. And then it will be a 20-box showdown after that. Curley's on the pocket. 1-3, 6, 7, 8, 10. Split of 6 pins down and 4 pins up. Wood all along the plate. Between the 6 and the 8 in particular is one to look for. And that piece of wood to the right of the 6. Oh, but he hits it a little bit straight and a little bit full, and it shoots straight back. The 7 and the 8 don't go. Chris Curley for the 10. He'll make it a 9. 86 through 9, 67 through 9 for Marc Poirier. 285 Marc Poirier, 279 Chris Curley with 1 box to go. 6 pins separate our 2 bowlers in the grand total. Marc Poirier with the narrow advantage. Curley takes 3, takes 4, 6-pack left side. Now it's just a difference of 1 in the grand total pinfall. 2, excuse me. Curley on the 6-pack. Can he convert? He's on the object, but just kind of 1 in the front and a few in the back. 4 pins standing. Inverted check mark left side with the 2-pointer. He'll take a 9. He'll take the lead by 3. 288 for Chris Curley with that 95 third game. Marc Poirier with an 87 third game for 285. It's a difference of 3 now in Chris Curley's favor with the lead change. Yep. And the scores are confirmed after 3 games. As I check the paper copy, we are good. 3 games down, 2 games to go for Chris Curley. It's a tight race. A difference of 3 pins separates the advancement to the next round of the playoffs between Marc Poirier and Chris Curley at Riverwalk Lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts. On the ACST in Class E North, here is Mr. Marc Poirier. We'll drop 5 and take a Curley. Right side, 1, 3, 6, 10, 8. On the Curley, he's all right on the object, on the pocket, leaves the 1, 3, takes the 1, 3, 6, leaves the 8 and the 10. Poirier for the out, it's going to be 8. 8 through 1 for Marc Poirier, which brings him to 293. Marc takes 3 out on the left side in the back left corner on the 4, 7, 8. Followed by a few more to the left of the head pin. Missed the object by a little bit. Leaves the 1, 3, 6. 7, 8, 9, or 10 for Marc Poirier. Ooh, a pretty 10 box for Marc Poirier. Missed the object, but it didn't matter that much. You want to see this again? Mark Ritchie goes, it doesn't even do that for me. Look at that. Wow. Crazy shot. Poirier to the right of the head pin. It just drifts off the pocket at the last minute. 6 down so far. 1, 2, 4, 7. And he'll use that wood in the back to spare it all up. When you got that wood in the back, right behind the 4 horsemen, you can miss and still get them all because the wood will spin. Look at this. Just like that, he went on the 2-4. It's 28 through 3 and a bonus for Marc Poirier. This is a fill. It's going to be 6, 1, 2, 4, 10. 34 through 3. Kicks over. Wow, got 3 of 4 by almost missing everything. It's just the object pin standing now. It's a 10. 44 through 4 for Marc Poirier. Takes the 6 and the 10 out on the first ball. Followed by a chop of the 3 and the 9. It's a 6-pack standing on the left side. Whiffs it, though, for a 4-box. 48.5 for Marc Poirier. 3.5 gain total of 333. 2 strikes, 5 spares, 8 tens. 12 head pin shots, 5 splits, 4.95 first ball average. Bonus pins off and 45. That's an average of 6.43 for each mark fill for Marc Poirier. Coming up next is Chris Curley to start off Game 4 in the ACST playoff action in Class E North. Here he is, Chris Curley. Starts off with a drift to the left and a 6 drop. It's a 2x2 grid, 1, 5, 3, 9. For the 2x2 grid, he takes 75% of it, leaves the kingpin. Ball was right where it should have gone. Sometimes they just don't fall. Ends up being a 10 box for Mr. Curley. 10 through 1. Chris Curley's string 4 average is 92.5. Or no, sorry, Marc Poirier's string 4 average is 92.5. Chris Curley's string 4 average is 98.11. Chris Curley has the 10th highest Class E total strikes at 16. The 5th highest Class E total spares at 134. Curley will take 4 down on the right side. It's a 6-pack on the left side standing. Oh, on the head pin and on the 7 pin, Lee converts it into a 2 diamond. Six or higher. It'll be a 9. 19 through 2 for Chris Curley. Here's Curley starts with a half Worcester-ish shot. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Drop. Cuts it a little full. 2 forward slashes, 4, 6, 8, 10. Six, 7, 8, 9, or 10 for Chris Curley. He'll take 2 on the left and leave 2 on the right. What does that mean for us? That means an 8 box, 27 through 3. For Chris Curley, it's 34 through 3 for Marc Poirier. Now, Chris might have an opportunity to take advantage with Marc Poirier's 4 box in the 5th. He'll find the 1-3 pocket. He'll mix down 7, maybe 8. It's the 4, 7, 8 for all set up for a spare. Triangle 4. Here we go, and it's a spare for Mr. Curley. 37 through 4 and a bonus, and let's watch that spare again by Chris. $37 plus gravy in the 4th. Curley on the head pin, and that's a big fill. It's a 9 fill on the kingpin, standing tall. 46 through 4. Will he get a double spare out of it? Oh, he just misses it slightly, ever so slightly. On the retry, misses it again and almost in the same place. That's consistent for you. 9 box in the 5th for 55 for Chris Curley at the half. It's 333 for Marc Poirier. Chris Curley an advantage of 10, 343 halfway through. Double check, and yes, we're good. That is confirmed. 333 Marc Poirier down by 10 to Chris Curley's 343. And when we come back, it'll be Marc Poirier on lane 3 on the ACST at Riverwalk Lanes, Amesbury, Massachusetts. Some playoff action coming right up. Poirier on the 1-2 pocket. Takes down 5, maybe more. Actually takes down 7. Three, six, 9. And it'll take all but the sleeper, the 9 stands. 9 or 10, it's a 9. 57 through 6 for Marc Poirier. Marc. Caleri left side, 5 drop. Shaves off the 7 pin on the second ball. No mark. Marc has no mark. We'll make it a 7 in the 7th for 64. Marc Poirier for the season, 11 pinfall wins. In his past matches, his 5 matches, he averaged 10 points per match and took 50 points in those past 5 matches. That's a 3 drop. 6 in the center and the 6 pin along for the ride. Can he spare it up? Oh, yes, he can. Marc Poirier with a great mark, 74 through 8 and a ball. Just had to get your strike ball out for the spare, and he sure did. Marc Poirier is working on a Mark Phil. 3 on that Mark Phil. Oops. That's not what I meant to do. Here we go. 77 through 8. Misses the object slightly, leaves the 1 and the 9. Just looking for an out of 8, 9, or 10. It's a 9, leaving the head pin. 86 through 9 for Marc Poirier. At 371 with 1 box to go. And he hits the head pin. He splits 7. It's the 4, 9, 10. I think. Might be the 2, 9, 10 actually. Just beans that object pin, whatever that was. Leaves the 9 and the 10. Makes it a 9. No mark in the 10th. 10 like a 95. 4th game. That's 380 for Marc Poirier. For 4 games. So Chris Curley is behind boxes and has to make up 37 pins to stay on pace with 343 to Marc Poirier's 380. Chris Curley will be coming up next on lane 3 to close game 4. Grand total pinfall wins in the playoffs, as a reminder. Curley on the 2-4, 4-7, and only the 4-7, 2 drop. For the mark ball, Curley goes to the other side of the plate. Leaves a 1 diamond in the 8. And it'll be a 5. In the 6th for 60 for Chris Curley. And Marc Poirier's at 57 through 6. Chris, he for the pocket, and he found the pocket. He's got the 5, the 7, and the 9. 7 go down. There's a piece of wood meandering on the plate. 5, 7, 9. And that wood, actually, I don't hate where that is. I don't hate the placement. But it starts with hitting it. Chris Curley misses to the right. On the retry now. He takes the 2 in the middle, leaves the 7, and it's going to be a 9 for Chris. 69 through 7. Marc Poirier's at 64 through 7. Chris Curley trails by 23, 3 boxes behind. So he could snipe the lead again going into the game, especially if he gets a mark. On the head pin, takes 6 down. 2, 4, 5, and the 7. Inverted check mark left side. But he doesn't connect with those standing 4 pins on the left side. On the retry, just looking for pins. Every pin counts. It'll be an 8 for Chris Curley, 7 through 8. Marc Poirier has an advantage of 15, 2 boxes ahead of Chris Curley. Chris. 5 go down. 1, 3, 8, 9, 10. and leaves the 1 and the 3. Missed the object. Leaves the object pocket effectively. So I think we're going to have a pretty dead even heat going into the 5th game here by the trajectory of the looks of the trajectory. That's 86 with a 9 for Chris Curley. 1 box to go. He's down by 6. Chris Curley will take 3 off in the back row. The back right corner, the back right Candlepin corner. 6, 9, 10 taken out. So he's halfway to 380 from 374. And will he spare it up? That would be cool if he did. But he can't quite get the 7 to convince itself to go down. But he will narrowly take the lead now. 9 or 10. What's it going to be? It'll be a 9. 383 for Chris Curley. With that 95 4th game, Marc Poirier's at 380. It's a difference of 3 in Chris Curley's favor as we move to the 5th game. Just double check this real quick. And yep, we are good. Thank you, Kristen Poirier, for keeping me honest, for sure. But we are staying perfectly in sync as of right now. We move on to Game 5, and a thrilling Game 5, where Chris Curley effectively has a handicap of 3. The home bowler gets a handicap of 3 free pins that he's earned. Coming into this point, here's Marc Poirier. He'll drop 1 to start off. Exciting playoff match, and you like to see it competitive like this because really, like, it's just great to see. That means the bowlers are definitely not letting off the gas. They're staying on pace with one another. Marc Poirier almost converts it for a mark. He leaves the 8 and the 9. No wood. He's looking for a stick. Pick your favorite stick. He picks the 8. He leaves the 9. That's a 9 box in the first for Marc Poirier. And again, in the playoff picture in Class E North, I believe the winner of this match faces Chaz Gallant or Tim Dacey, depending on who wins that matchup, according to Micah Imperado's stats page. 3-9-10 for Marc Poirier. Misses off to the left on the object of the 3-9. They'll make it an 8 box. 17 through 2. Poirier's on the pocket. He almost strikes it up. There's still wood settling. I don't think it's going to take the 7, but it was a great bid. And it is a great setup for a spare, though. Oh, just a little bit too much oomph on that ball. It goes into the channel. 9 or 10. It's a 9. 26 through 3 for Marc Poirier. Marc Poirier has the #1 Class E high single at 150, the #1 Class E high series at 600, the #1 Class E total strikes at 37. He's slightly to the left of the head pin there. 4 horsemen right side, 1, 3, 6, 10. They'll take the 1 and the 6 and they'll leave the 3 and the 10. For the out, it's a 9, and the 4th for 35 for Marc Poirier. Marc Poirier has the 6th highest Class E total spares at 131. 2nd highest Class E total 10s at 153. The 6th highest ACST North average. Oh, sorry. I think that's meant to say E North. He's split 7 here. We're moving to a new stats platform for like the superlatives and all the cool statistical details. Micah Imperado is currently mid-flight and moving those stats, so forgive me if a few of those numbers sound a little off every now and then, but for the most part, they still are correct from our old system. We're basically moving from an Excel sheet that is effectively stretched to its limits to a more like sophisticated stats website. Link in the description, by the way, if you want to check that out on Candlepin HQ. That's the new website. That's 43 for Marc Poirier, 5 boxes into the 5th and final game with 423 as his grand pinfall total so far. Grand total pinfall wins in this playoff matchup. Coming up next is Chris Curley. Curley's on the pocket, a little full. Can't break up the split. 4-6-3. Drop a 7. Chris then takes the 6 out. And it's an 8 in the first for Chris Curley. At the end of the 4th game, Marc Poirier had 380, Chris Curley had 383. The differences have been really tight this whole way down in the grand total. Marc Poirier had 14 head pins at the end of the 4th. Chris Curley had 16. So really neck and neck in a lot of stats. That's just the 10 pin for Mr. Chris Curley. Oh, he's on the pocket, but a little full. That's what, the 2-4-6-7-9. A rough leave, so he's looking at a 5 box or higher. Wants to catch some pins, he does. He takes a 7 for 15 through 2. Chris Curley, the pitch, the first ball, 5 go down. He missed the head pin. He's got the 1, 2, 4, 7, and 8. Chris Curley has a first ball average of 5.27 today so far. Marc Poirier is dropping 5.22 on average in the first ball. Curley misses wide right. And Curley, pin will take a dance out front. He'll take an 8 box in the 3rd, and that's 23 through 3. Just clearing out a pin. It's obviously pretty far out of play. Again, here's Chris Curley's stats while we're just waiting for that to clear out. Class E North Division 3 out of Riverwalk Lanes. He took 32 points in his past 5 matches, averaging 6.4 points per match. His longest streak of strings where he's gone more than 100 has been 3 consecutive this season. His longest streak of matches where he's gone more than 500 has been 3 this season. There we go, the pin has been cleared out. Chris Curley coming up next on lane 4 for his 4th box, the opening pitch. And that's a big bomb of an eye drop with a 5-pin, king pin left. Can't quite find it. For the 10 box, to the 9 guarantee, it is going to be that 9, 32 through 4. For Chris Curley, Marc Poirier's at 35 through 4. And since the difference is 3 as of the 4th, that actually kind of, remember, Chris Curley was +3 coming into this game, and he's down by 3 as of the 4th. So just keep that in mind. We're still in a very close race here for who advances to the next round of the playoffs. Chris Curley drops 5. It's clearly left side. On that Caleri, and he takes it for the spare. That's a great shot. And that's a way to sit on a half. Let's watch this again by Chris Curley while we have a moment. Watch the spare. Beauty of a ball in the inside pocket. Going to be helpful. 423 Marc Poirier, 425 and a bonus for Chris Curley with that 42 half. I'm just double checking with the paper copy. 42 good, and 43 is good. We are all set. Confirmed on the paper copy, and confirmed score of 423 Marc Poirier, 425 plus a bonus fill for Chris Curley when he returns for his final 5. But first, it's going to be Marc Poirier's final 5 on the ACST at Riverwalk Lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts. Don't scroll away. Don't change the dial. Don't tick the channel. Don't do anything. Stay right here for the final 5. 7 drop for Marc Poirier. 6, 7, 10. Poirier for the spare. Almost converts it. Flying action, but the messenger doesn't come for the 7. He's on a 9 or a 10. He'll make it a 9. 52 through 6 for Marc Poirier. Just a lot of 9s and 8s for Marc Poirier this game. He just needs to be able to crack open some marks to be able to secure and pull away. But the same story for Chris Curley is also in effect, but he was able to find a mark here in the 5th. Poirier starts off with a 6 drop, maybe more, 7, 1, 3, 6, or 1, 3, 10, excuse me. And he gets the spare, and that's what he needed. He's on the board with a mark this game. 62 in a bonus through 7. Watch that shot again by Marc Poirier on the 1, 3, 10. Look at that. Look at that 3-pin fall. He's working on a fill and hope it's good. Oh, oh. Tragedy. Quarter Worcester 1 fill. I thought he was guaranteed for at least more than that, but he's at 63 through 7. Wants to spare it up. Ugh, what is this? The 4, 5, 6, 9, 10? Yikes. 5 or higher. Nice out of 8, considering what he was dealt with. 71 through 8 for Marc Poirier. 451 in grand total. 2 boxes to go. Poirier to the left, takes 3 out. 6-pack right side plus the 7. Followed by, ooh, a miss to the right. Just need to get pins. Every pin counts here. That's a nice way to get out. 8 in the 9th for 79. One box remaining for Marc Poirier. Should try to go out with a big one. This is either what gets you through the playoffs or stops your journey. 1-3 pocket, that's a way to start, and a spare leave 5-9 with wood across the 5 and the 9 in the front. Exactly the way you want it. Poirier fires on it, and he gets it. That's a big spare in the 10th. 89 and a bonus in the 10th. Just a bonus ball remaining for Marc Poirier. He's going to be at 469 plus this next ball. The fill ball is away, and it's going to be big. 7 fill, 1, 2 in the 7 stand. And that 7 fill brings him to 96 in the 5th game. So his final wall of defense is 476, that 96 in the 5th game. I'll just double check. 96 is confirmed. And I see 476. Yes, that is confirmed for Marc Poirier on the paper copy. So Chris Curley, he's on a mark fill. Poirier leads by 51. That's the benchmark for Chris Curley to overcome. He's on a mark, 42.5 and a fill. Grand total pinfall wins here in the playoffs in Class E North on the ACST. In Riverwalk Lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts, Marc Poirier versus Chris Curley. I'm Steve Kelly on the call. It's going to be a great fight to the finish here. Chris Curley will be coming up. I hope you enjoyed this match today and this playoff bowling action. Our league commissioner for the ACST this year is Danny Finn. Our Class E treasurer is Maurice Perry. Our statistician is Imperato. I'd like to thank Steve Abadillo, who contributed some video content. Link in the description for his stuff. Also check out Micah Imperato's new stats site. Link in the description. Hope you enjoyed this content today. That's a 5 fill for Chris Curley. On the head pin, it's a split, 3 right, 2 left, 47.5. I want you to check out the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour page on Facebook and YouTube if you haven't already. My content is all spare on Facebook and YouTube if you haven't checked that out already. Chris Curley will be in the 10. Chris Curley has a deficit of 46 from here on out, not counting this box, which is about to be finished. It's finished now. That's a 7 box. That means Chris Curley is down by 39. 4 boxes behind Marc Poirier. Curley, 3 in the back. Marc Poirier averaged 5.14 in the first ball today with 9 splits, 38% on the head pin. Chris Curley is currently riding 40% on the head pin. He'll take that 10 pin, ride that rail on the right side. Speaking of, Marc Poirier threw a 254 on lane 3 and a 222 on lane 4. Curley will make that a 4 box. 58 through 7. 35 pins separate Marc Poirier and Chris Curley. Marc Poirier is ahead by 35, 3 boxes ahead. Chris Curley a little bit closer to the center, still not quite there. Drops 7. He's got the 1, 2, 4 for a spare opportunity. Curley, it's away, but it's going to be too much to the right. He'll catch a pin from the wood, but he still has the 1, 2, no mark. With less than 3 boxes remaining, he's really going to need to mark out now. And he'll take a 10 at least. 3 pin counts. 25 is the deficit. It's going to be close. See what Chris Curley can do. Any mark will basically do it. Curley barely off the head pin. He drops 3. 4 horsemen left side, and then the 6, 9, 10. Curley, can he mark this? No, not quite. He leads the 4 horsemen. He's got 6 down and 4 up. He will need a mark in the 10th to advance to the next round of the playoffs. Only that a mark and a decent fill, but he will at least pin it out for a 10. 78 through 9 for Chris Curley. Marc Poirier leads by 15. It will come down to a mark and a fill greater than 5 for Chris Curley to advance or have his journey end here. Starts off with a 1 drop on the 10 pin. This next determines who moves on in the playoffs. And I think Marc has it. Chris Curley will not get that mark. It's the 1-2-7-9. That will not be a lead. Will not be enough to overcome a deficit of 15. And that's an 8. And that's it. The scores are in. Chris Curley with an 86, Marc Poirier with a 96. I'm just double checking to make sure that is official. I see 87 for Chris Curley. I'll just double check what that is. 7 and 55. Spare 5, 48. 32, 8, 7, 8, 9. Spare 5. Oh. Double check the math. Double check the math there. I think it's. We have the same boxes, just a different number. Regardless, though, it's just a difference of 1 in Chris Curley's. I think. Yeah, it's the same boxes, just different, just a different number. I'm just having a double check. You know, computer versus pen and pencil. That's all. But the boxes are the same, so fun stuff. But that said, 1 pin is not going to make a difference here. It is still going to be Marc Poirier advancing to the finals. I mean, the next round. Not the we're in the playoffs. The next round. You know what I mean. Anyway, so Marc Poirier with a 476, Chris Curley with a 469. That is the result today. Don't worry about the points at the bottom. That's just if it were a regular season. So that is ball game for Marc Poirier and Chris Curley. 476 for Marc Poirier, 469 for Chris Curley. Wow, what a match this was. This was so close all throughout the match. Chris Curley took the lead several times, but Marc Poirier was able to overcome it. You look at the head pin percentage, they were equal at 19 both. 9 splits for both as well. The first ball average was just narrowly different. You look at the lane differences, each bowler seemed to have a different lane preference. Marc Poirier liked lane 3 the best with a 254 versus 222 on lane 4. Chris Curley had 226 on lane 3 versus 243 on lane 4. You look at the fills, and Marc Poirier just had a few more. They averaged about the same on their mark fills, but Marc Poirier, it's in the name, he just had a couple more mark fills overall with 1 additional strike and a couple more spares. And let's double check, 476, 460. Yep, that's what we got. Okay, the paper copy's been corrected. Again, same boxes. There's just a bit of an addition error on Chris Curley's in the 5th and final game, but it is correct otherwise. So that is what we got officially for the 5th and final game and the final results, of course. Here's some graphs if you want to analyze just how close this match was all throughout the match, and I will be putting together a highlight once I sign off the mic here. But anyways, this has been a great playoff match from Class C North at Riverwalk Lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts. I've been Steve Kelly from Marc Poirier and Chris Curley. Have a great one, everyone. We'll see you at the next Atlantic Candlepin Single Store match. Kilter. That's why the wide shot camera's a little bit off kilter. But you know what's not off? You know what's on kilter is that spare by Chris Curley. Marc Poirier on the head pin, and he takes a strike. That's our first strike of the match, and it's to Marc Poirier. Hit this game in the previous box, except he drops 9 instead of 8. And he gets the spare off of it. Nicely done by Marc Poirier. And he'll take a spare off of that. Nicely done by. For the 10 box, he's got a 6 guarantee. What a nice 10 box for Chris Curley. A nice out there. And Chris will make a nice 10 box out of it, or a nice spare out of it at the very least. Split. That's a setback right side. 5, 9, 10. And he'll spare up that mess. Single pin on the 6. It's gone. See ya. Tie. That's the current story as of the end of the second game. Here's Chris Curley, our home bowler. On the pocket, and he strikes it up. That's what he needed. And he'll spare that 4-6-7. And there's a strike for Marc Poirier. A nice easy hammer in the 10th. 7. Looks good for a spare if you just hit anywhere in the vicinity of the 7. Here we go, and there it is. 7, 8, 9, or 10 for Marc Poirier. And ooh, a pretty 10 box for Marc Poirier. Missed the object. And he'll use that wood in the back to spare it all up. Here we go, and it's a spare for Mr. Curley. Can he spare it up? Oh, yes, he can. On that Caleri. And he takes it for the spare. That's a great shot. And he gets the spare, and that's what he needed. He's on the board with a mark this game. Poirier fires on it, and he gets it. That's a big spare in the 10th.